Alright, welcome to Game 9 for University of South Alabama. I'm Timothy Bennett, and here with me is Derek Antolon.
Hello, hello, good afternoon. Not afternoon, evening. It's way too late.
Yeah, that is true. Okay, so we're already about to start the draft, so let's go ahead and get that ready. Oh, whoops. So, draft is about to start soon. And what are we thinking they're going to play this time?
Okay, for USA, they almost always the only thing I can really predict in their draft is like for top lane, it'll almost always be a Lowry or Tom Kench or something like similar to that.
Right.
And I know that our mid laner, I forgot his name at the moment. I think it's Donnie. I think it's Donnie. Um,
I think you're
he
right.
plays like Kiana. He plays like
Kiana,
a
I'd like to see that
well,
actually.
I don't think Kiana's too good at the moment, but
Really high
from what
skill
I've
ceiling.
seen, yeah, from what I've seen, he's a pretty decent Kiana.
That's pretty cool because I'm trying to learn Kiana myself, and Kiana is not certainly not an easy champion to play. That champion is among some of the hardest champions in the game to play, in my opinion. You have to really be a one trick with Kiana in the current meta in order to play her well. So I'm wondering if I would like to see it happen in this game, but uh, as you said before, right now in the current meta, she's sort of weak. So I guess we can't be super confident that Kiana is going to necessarily get picked. But what I definitely agree with you on that with Ilawi and Tom Kench top, something like that. Definitely he's definitely going to go for something some sort of bruiser that's hard to kill and is able to turn fights really good, right?
Mhm.
I'd like to see a Hecarim again, but I don't know if UAH is going to likely ban that or not, because we did see Hecarim do very good for USA in some of the past games, but we'll have to
Mhm.
see how it ends up turning out.
Yeah, the playstyle for USA for the most part is almost always weak side top and playing more towards mid and bot for the jungle. And and I wonder if they'll keep up the same game plan as they always end up going for.
Right, that's what I'm thinking. But I, I assume usually it's pretty standard for USA to have a tendency to go for lighter or not necessarily lighter comps, but less aggressive ones. And a lot of the opponents USA from the past few games USA has played is been very aggressive comps, and USA just has to hold out in many cases. But uh, I'm wondering if they'll change that a bit and instead go for a much more aggressive comp themselves.
Yeah, from what I remember for USA, a lot of the times they like to draft like the Zaire Khan in the bot, and
Right.
I wonder if they ban maybe Zaya or something like on the side of UAH. That was right, yeah, UAH. I would like to see maybe like a Caitlyn Karma or Emilio pick. Emilio would be so hyped to see.
That would be pretty cool to see. All right,
But I think Milio's more
and
so
we're
of a
in.
counter pick.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I don't know if Melia will be played just because of how new he is, but we are
Hmm.
right away. We're seeing Isaiah and Kindred ban on UAH's side. USA's banned Yorick, which is I guess that's kind of an interesting ban. Uh,
What I'm assuming is that UAH's top laner plays a lot of Yorick, and Yorick does very well into the top lane picks for USA.
that's true because Yorick is a constant threat for constantly just shoving up in top lane, and USA is probably trying to
First
just deal with
pick
that right away.
for UAH is actually Misfortune, which I am surprised because I don't think that's a very strong first pick, but maybe they just want, maybe they're comfortable on it.
Yeah, I mean, into Caitlyn, you do have the range disadvantage. Misfortune can catch up to Caitlyn a little bit. Caitlyn, however, can get away from that. In lane, I feel like Caitlyn Lux is going to be bullying the Misfortune unless they have something that can also bully back for support, but we'll have to see what Huntsville picks.
This Misfortune also could be a flex pick for support. It's not the best, but I think that in this situation versus Caitlyn Lux, well, even though Lux could go mid, that it would be rough if they keep the Misfortune as ADC. It'll be hard to get some CS.
And UAH is actually going for Tom Kench right now. Huh.
And this Tompkins is also a flex. But most likely support. I think that USA's USA usually picks it for top lane, but I think that Tom Kench is a stronger support champ than a solo laner now
Yeah.
after some of the changes. But we can see how where it goes. They also lock in the Gwen blind pick.
So that looks like either a jungle Gwen or a top Gwen. I'm gonna have to guess top
Yeah,
Gwen.
most likely top.
Yeah, jungle Gwen happens, but it's more of a niche kind of troll pick almost. You see Yone on USA side.
Oh, and they confidently locked it in too. So they decide. Well, this there's a lot of flex picks going on here, but
Yeah,
this is most likely Yone mid, and which is what I'm surprised about because they chose Gwen and Gwen is most likely going top. So I'm surprised that USA didn't choose their top laner here.
yeah. I guess I mean that's probably it's most likely a Yone mid, but you could see it in top. It's not uncommon
Mhm.
to see. It's kind of split act. Well, I'd say at Yone mid is more common, but Yone top certainly works. But
Yeah, most definitely.
we'll see. I'm gonna go ahead and assume that's likely Yone mid. There's a Jarvan ban, and
I'm surprised to see no early jungle priority from either side.
yeah, it seems like they are sort of holding off on that at the moment. I feel like I feel like they probably should have gotten the jungle picks early on, but it seems like both teams are comfortable right now just getting their base picks out, and they'll get the jungle pick out on the second pick uh, round. So we have Belveth banned and Kassadin banned.
I think the Jarvan ban was actually very, very good on the side of USA. There's a lot of auto attacking champs and Jarvan, of course, Jarvan flag, even though people don't really like think of it that way,
Right.
is a big attack speed buff for both Misfortune and Gwen. So
Yeah.
it's good to see that that's out of the picture and they lock in Viego for jungle on the side of USA.
There are these are pretty good champions for Viego to possess. Tom Kench is really good for Viego to possess to get
Mhm.
on a misfortune. Although it's not a bad pick. I'm want to see how this goes though. I'm not.
Looks like heavy AP on the side of UAH. The only AD is Misfortune, and
Yeah,
Misfortune can get dove by can easily be one shot if Tom Kinch isn't there to save her.
yeah.
No flash. And Vagar, extremely strong champ he has gotten nerfed like maybe the last two patches in a row, but I mean he has the box. The box is
The
extremely powerful.
Yeah, the box is the box is really hard for them to deal with. I think Gwen certainly is gonna not find it too difficult to deal with, but a Mumu goes in on Vagar, that could be a serious problem. Tom Kench follows up with Misfortune ult. Vagar, very immobile champion. He's hoping people get caught by the cage, and there are champions, two in fact, on UAH's side that can deal with Vagar's cage. Gwen with her W, and Tom Kench with his, I assume it's his W. I haven't played him much, but
Yeah, it's his W.
it's his W, right? Okay. But yeah, I'm expecting, like I said before, more aggressive on the opposing team side, less aggressive on USA side, kind of staying back a bit. On with most of their champions, you have Mumu, Tom Kench, Gwen, all trying to dive in. On USA side, you really only have two champions trying to dive in. What are we
I
thinking
think
about tank wise though? I feel like USA lacks tanks on their team.
yeah, I think USA lacks tanks, but they make up for it in being able to make space and make spaces hard for UAH to go into. With
Right.
Vagar Lux Caitlyn is super hard for them to get in if they position well. Um Also something I just noticed is that this Yone was in the top lane with the Vagar being picked. So it's
Oh yeah.
I've I've never seen I've never seen our top laner play Yone, so I would love to see how this goes out for him.
Definitely me too. Yeah, because Yone is a very interesting champion. He has a capability, like he's like, I don't know how to describe this, but it's this kind of champion that you think, oh, they're low. Clearly, I'm going to kill them, and then it just doesn't happen, right? They have some
Mhm.
miraculous comeback. He's that kind of champion, right? Like champions like, well, clearly Tryndamere, but
Like I really
Aurelia, just they're at real low health, but then they pull off some massive game-breaking combo, and it's just like, okay, well, you lose now, even though you were max HP.
yeah, I can but from the side of USA they have a really weak, well maybe not weak in their bot lane, but their early game is definitely not the best, and that's where I think UAH has a small edge in. Even though they have Cassiopeia scaling and they have Misfortune scaling, um a Mumu is mostly early game, and of course that's why he's a tank, so he's gonna eventually fall off. And Tom Kench support tank as well, same thing.
Right,
Uh well, I think USA doesn't have to do much in the early game as long as they don't get too behind. They will eventually scale into the mid game really well, and of course the late game.
right.
So what I'm hoping to see is that USA plays a decent early game, just get past the early game and
Right, just try to
uh
drag the game out. And yeah, I definitely agree with what you said before about them having a lot of ways of kiting UAH. UAH does have a lot of ways to get on USA, but USA, you have Caitlyn Traps, you have Caitlyn E, you have Lux Root, you have Vagar Cage. There's a lot of ways to just keep the opposing team off of USA. And if they could successfully do that and just try to scale, Viego, Yone, Caitlyn are just going to start obliterating things.
yeah, most definitely. And I feel like on the side of UAH, they have a lot of not a lot, but they have the engage tools, but they don't really have many tools of getting out. Where I feel like on the side of
Right.
USA, it's kind of the opposite. They don't really have a defined way of getting in. Like on the side of UH, they have a Mumu engage with Tom Kench, right?
Right.
But for USA, they only have, oh, let's Yone E and let's ult forward, or Viego finds a flank or something. And
Right.
they kind of sit there and wait for the Lux snare or the Vagar cage to get anything.
Right. I guess
But
I
that's the only thing I feel like is the
right. I guess I forgot to mention as well.
yeah.
Vagar is gonna, if they drag the game out long enough, Vagar's going to scale insanely. But that is one of the hard parts about USA is getting in. You're talking about going into an Amumu, Gwen, and Tom Kench. These are not champions that really care if you go in on them necessarily. They
Mhm.
want to be close to you, right? So USA has to play a sort of kiting game while hoping the Yone and Viego can peel for them, even though they're not really tanks. So that is one weakness on USA's side. But if they can keep their distance properly, take out Misfortune and then Cassiopeia, who's likely going to deal the most damage. Those are probably two highest damage on UAH's side. Take those out immediately. It's going to start working any fight that where that happens. USA is going to start winning pretty much because Tom Kench is not. I mean, I guess Tom Kench is. There's a good chance he might. Well, he's playing support, I assume, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So he's probably not going to go Heart Steel. So he's not going to have a ton of damage.
Mhm.
Amumu, unless he decides to play AP for some reason, is not going to have a ton of damage. So and Gwen's got good damage, but it's the main thing is Cassiopeia and Misfortune. You can't really survive after that. Even if USA were to lose, say, even if they were to lose Viego and Yone, if UAH also lost Misfortune and Cassiopeia, Caitlyn, Lux, and Vagar could clean up at that point against two tanks and one damager.
Yeah, most definitely. I think that the main problem and the source of damage on the side of UAH is Cassiopeia. Even later on, Cassiopeia is gonna, of course, be building like Archangels and building like, health like Rallies maybe,
Right,
or even I don't see I don't see her going Leandries in this game. There's not many health stackers on the side of
right.
USA. So most likely I would see a Rod of Ages or something, trying to scale even harder.
Rod of Ages
And
would make the most sense in this game.
so I think on the side of UAH, are also it's weird because they get outscaled by USA in my opinion, but they also need time to scale with Misfortune and Cassiopeia.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I'm thinking as well. Uh, is that USA has to just hold out for as long as they can, get a decent early game, don't make any too many reckless plays, and if they do that successfully and they can scale, they're going to be huge contenders in this game. But even then, there is still the problem of tanks because even if you do have a lot of scaling, you still may have to end up dealing with a lot of tanks in a game versus something like Misfortune, Cassiopeia. If they can't kill those champions, the tanks are going to give them enormous peel, and it's going to become overwhelming for USA. But I could see this working for them. We are seeing Conquer on Viego, so he's opting for a little bit more tank, probably just to make up for his team's mostly at the moment uh, squishy style. But we'll see what ends up happening. I'd say
I'm hoping. I think this game is very, very on the side of whoever, like whichever jungle does the most in the early game, because that's the most important part. Because both teams wants to get out of the early game and get into the mid game and into the late. And so I what I want to see is Viego maybe going for stealing some camps or something because Amumu very weak early game jungler, and then Viego of course can 1v1 Amumu. Uh,
right.
Amumu also having Conqueror, so maybe I'm not as sure because Amumu might be stronger than I think with Conqueror early game.
Yeah,
But I think that if Viego can steal away some camps, maybe have some pressure that's not really expected, then things can move in the way of USA. And if Amumu just does his normal early game pressure,
right.
I think that it'll be a very hard game for the side of
Yeah.
USA.
All right, we're in. So I will say, yeah, early game, it's gonna be kind of. I'd say it's gonna be kind of. I think Viego is winning in the jungle,
Mhm.
just because he has the current HP damage from his Q, so he's gonna be able to do well against Amumu, who's not gonna deal as much damage as Viego. But I do think that in general, Amumu, if he holds out and and just goes with his team for ganks very well, then it's gonna just they're gonna snowball into a lead for UAH.
Yeah, I think that that on the side of UAH playing more towards the bot lane would be more favorable for them with because Misfortune and Tompkins are definitely going to be pushed by Caitlyn Lux. And,
Right.
so Viego can either opt to play towards mid uh with Veigar Cage. It's kind of not easy, but it's easier to get some ganks off. And or he can look to maybe counter gank for bot. But it looks like that UAH is opting to play for bot with Amumu.
It looks
Amumu's
like
gonna.
we seeing USA trying a cheese.
Oh, they are. They're sitting in the tribe bush. They might be able to get. Oh, but UAH is just taking the long way around. They said no,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah. I'm thinking Yone does not have the advantage here against Max Stack.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
yeah, Max Stack Gwen. So he's gonna have to play careful until then. But definitely, like I said before, that looks like UAH is gonna get zoned off on the minion wave just because of the range advantage.
Okay, so it looks like Amumu is going to full clear, and Viego's already he went buff to wolves, and he's gonna do blue. I'm not sure what he's gonna do afterwards. Maybe just farm Gromp. There's no real opportunities yet.
Right. Looks like top lane is definitely going in Gwen's favor.
Yeah, Yone in my opinion, has a pretty weak pretty weak level 1.
Right.
Oh, the Ignite is dropped, but
A lot of damage there, and UAH is just getting pushed out of their lane into their tower. It looks like Cassiopeia. It looks like Cassiopeia is going for
that's
a
what I
very
was
early
looking
gank.
for. Oh, but Viego's there. Oh, the stun whiffs. Oh, but this is still
This is still possibly
Cassiopeia's in a very bad spot here, and that's
Cassiopeia.
first blood to USA.
First blood to USA for Viego. That's definitely not a good thing to have happen against UAH. That's not good for UAH because Viego does scale pretty good, and if he gets an early lead, it's gonna just be impossible for them to play against a Viego just roaming the map, constantly getting kills.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate on the side of UAH.
And it looks
Oh,
like
but this is a lot of damage coming through, but
not quite.
it's what his life. Misfortune.
He might be getting
Oh,
overconfident here. Can he actually win this?
but his Viego's here. Not Viego, Veigar's here, but it's too late.
Too late, and the Amumu will get away. So 1-for-1.
This could possibly be bad for the side of UAH. If I was a Mumu, I'm taking the scuttle there and just running across mid and taking the other scuttle again. Because
Yeah,
Viego still has he never cleared his top side camp, so there's no scuttle. He can only go towards top.
yeah, exactly, and that's going to be a serious problem for Viego now. He's right now just going for the Krugs, and it looks like for bot lane, Misfortune is trying to stay in lane, but this is very dangerous. 1Q and an E from Lux, and that is death.
Yeah, I think even just E auto from Lux and a Caitlyn auto kills her from this
Yeah,
point.
honestly, I think
This is very greedy. I think backing here is not the worst thing in the
yeah,
world for Misfortune. It's better than losing, like possibly losing your life.
very close, and that
And
is
and
going to
she
be
and
going
she,
down.
she goes down. That's a little greedy.
Very greedy there for Misfortune.
Oh, but it looks like there's a gank coming up top side. Oh, but Amun's also here.
Very close to death for Yone, and it looks like they're just going to have to retreat here.
And Viego has to just walk out. Yone's way too low.
Will they?
Oh, this is horrible. This is horrible for the side of USA.
USA is trying to stay, but this might spell disaster if UAH plays it right.
See, this dive is too like risky. But oh, I forgot that Gwen had ignite.
And Gwen
I'm
goes
not
down as
sure
well.
how. Oh, but the roam from Lux.
Lux
And he
roams.
gets a pickup there. I'm surprised that UAH even went for that. I think that just having that pressure of Viego can't walk back into his jungle. He
Right.
got all his health. Um the the Gwen had the wave push. I feel like there was no need for them to aggress so heavily there. But it goes very wrong for the side of UAH.
Yeah, and then of course we get a pretty classic gank from Brandon, roaming the map and being able to get a free kill there. But this is leaving the bot laner a little bit vulnerable, but he is going to be able to get out.
Yeah, Caitlyn is just sitting here, just catching all the waves. But Viego's sitting as Lux comes back towards bot. Viego's also here.
And it's going to be going on Tom Kench, but he's going to have to use Flash.
Flash.
I think this is going to be Drake for USA, just because they've got 4 in bot lane right now. It's a lot of people in bot lane right at the moment.
Yeah, it's a very sizable lead for Caitlyn and CS, of course, because Miss Fortune always being under tower. There's no real pressure.
Right.
For her to get the CS. Almost up like 20, maybe like almost up 3 waves.
And UAH steals the Drake, but there's one's going to go down. They're trying to chase him at this moment. USA is not in a winning position here, so they are going to have to retreat. And will they be able to? And it gets a kill.
But Veigar just presses R and blows up Tom Kench. They good on UAH for stealing the dragon, but maybe aggressing a little bit too much and giving over some gold back to USA.
Yeah, now USA is in a 2k gold lead, so they did get the Drake, but at what cost, right? So that might end up costing the rest of the Drakes with that new gold lead that USA now has.
Yeah, I think now I think USA kind of have to make a decision here that either they continue to play as aggressive as they have been, or they try to slow the game down a little bit. There's no shutdowns really, except for on Lux. So as long as that shutdown doesn't go to the side of UAH,
right,
things should be pretty chill for the side of USA.
Surprising. I kind of thought Yone was in a losing position, but right now he's actually got more CS at the moment and equal kills, so he's not doing bad. And with the Vampire Scepter, he's able to sustain in lane really well.
Yeah, I think that purchase alone is what's making this
he tries to go for
a good dodge from the side of Gwen, and Yone just goes down for the flash W, but it whiffs.
And it looks like Viego's gonna go down for this. To the tower shots, but he does manage to get Viego.
That is very unfortunate that W flash from Viego did not reach, so he had to go a little further to make sure that he gets that kill.
Yeah. Right now we're looking a lot of pretty decent roams from Brandon, but it doesn't. He's still not at 6 yet, so that might be problematic. We'll see. It looks like he's hovering mid.
Yeah, it looks like he's giving a lot of solo experience to Caitlyn, which is a good thing because they had so much priority earlier on in the lane that he can just apply pressure towards mid and towards top, like earlier with that one roam.
Yeah, that one roam allowed USA to stay on the board despite the dive.
This side of Amumu is starting the. I thought he's on the Herald right now, I think.
Right now on Herald, yeah.
And Viego's towards bot side, so this is just a free Herald for the side of UAH, which I'm very surprised that USA is not playing towards the Herald with no dragon being up, bot lane being in a very decent spot, and plate still being up. So I think that's a very small misplay, but they're gonna be able to possibly pick up Tom Kench here.
Maybe pick up Tom Kench. He might
definitely.
We'll see. The shield comes out, but it looks like Tom Chench will go down.
He does go down to Viego. Yeah, it's smooth sailings for the side of for the bot lane of USA.
Oh, and he actually goes for the dive back.
Big chunk.
So this is actually going to secure a tower for them. That might have been the idea, is that, you know, if they just go for a dive anyways, it's good, and they can secure the tower either way. Doesn't matter if they have Rift Herald. But it doesn't look like they're going to be able to. He dodges the Cassiopeia ulti. The cage comes out. It looks like Amumu has gotten 2 people in the ulti. He's catching another. Viego might go down, but he ultis out, and the
ult from Misfortune comes out and gets the shutdown on Viego. And it looks like they also are catching the Veigar as well, and Veigar also goes down. So very, very bad on the side of USA, and it doesn't.
And it looks like Gwen is just diving. Gwen is just cutting the wave. So now they have the Rift Herald and 4 bot. It looks like they're going to try and get this tower, and that's actually a really good idea for UAH because bot lane was doing very well on USA side, so they're trying to turn that lead around by getting that tower destroyed, allowing a little bit more space.
The only thing I feel like they have maybe 1 too many members here, at least for the crash. Because that just makes the turret even harder to take for the side of UAH, but it still spreads the gold a little bit evenly. I think that that it's still fine, but
we have the Inferno Drake coming up right now. I mean Infernal. I don't know why I've called it for the longest time Inferno Drake for some reason.
The Sunfire and Bramblevest is finished for Amumu, so he's gonna be very, very strong in these next few team fights. But the other members of UAH do not have very much to work with. However, on the side of USA, they have the Kraken Slayer finished, and they have the Crown of the Shattered Queen finished for Veigar as well. So they're very much so more capable of taking this fight for Dragon.
Right. And it looks like he's sort of posturing towards Drake at the moment, but nobody's really going for it at the moment. Viego looks like he's going for it now. And almost goes down in top lane.
Yeah, it looks like the TP advantage on the side of UAH is really being a problem for USA because he has Gwen has, and Yone just goes down.
The ulti comes out, but it misses.
Yeah, a whole item up. All Yone had was Greaves and Vamp Scepter, and Gwen had finished Nashers.
Yeah, Yone is starting to fall behind here, but still looks like USA's got the advantage for getting Drake, but the gold lead is now narrowed down from 2K almost to, well, now to literally nothing.
Even. Just a few slip-ups here and there from both teams. So I feel like this Dragon is going to dictate a lot of how the rest of the game is going to go. I think that this is probably the most important fight.
Right.
So that's if they take the fight, because neither team necessarily has to take the fight. It's only the second Dragon of the game. So USA can either choose let's fight. We're very, very strong in comparison to them. Well, at least compared. Oh, but it looks like the engage and Veigar gets picked out. But now this looks like a
They've been posturing around Drake for like what 3 minutes now. Nobody's been willing to take it, but once that kill came down, it looks like UAH is going to go for the kill. Meanwhile, Viego is going bot for the kill, and the kill will come out. Viego barely getting out alive, but they will get the second Drake.
So Viego, I think this is a very, very smart play from Viego. Just going down bot, killing the Misfortune that's already pretty behind in comparison to Caitlyn, when they already knew that they couldn't get the dragons due to Veigar dying moments before.
If you can't contest the dragons, got to do something else, and they quickly responded to that and got to kill bottom.
It looks like Viego's gonna be able to, not Viego, Yone is gonna be able to take the top turret and back before.
It looks
Gwen, it looks like he's staying, and they took both tier 1 towers, both bot and top. So I'm pretty sure they're gonna move Caitlyn Lux towards mid after this one wave for Veigar, and then just swapping and trying to get the next Herald, trying to get the mid turret,
right.
and open up this mid game.
It looks like top turret and bottom turret for USA though are very close to getting down, and it looks like in bot lane they're gonna get it. Yone almost goes for a little bit of a play there, but doesn't die in the process. There's 2 top for UAH. They might be going for a gank, but 2 teams.
Veigar has to get out of there. Oh, never mind.
Huge turnaround for Veigar. The ulti comes out from Amumu, and 2 get taken down immediately. But
Veigar's getting soloed by the support. Oh my god.
Oh, it's a Tom Kench moment there.
Tom Kench moment indeed.
I really kind of expected Veigar to at least be able to get out, but with no tower, Tom Kench could just run at him.
So USA actually goes 1 for 3 there, and that's very, very bad. And on the side of UAH, they're gonna be able to get the second Herald of the game.
UAH, yeah, getting the second Herald now, so that is not really good for USA. USA is now at around a 1K deficit. So we're going to have to see how they make up for this. I kind of expected them to have somewhat of a deficit in this game, but we're seeing how that ends up turning out later on in the game. And he almost gets it.
Coming down onto Cassio, and Cassiopeia barely lives.
Let's see that. Hold on. That is, we're talking about 50 health right there.
So this game so far is going kind of in a way that I thought. That the top lane being and Viego's able to
solo kill him.
Solo kill the overstay for the Gwen.
Yeah.
And get that shut down. But as I was saying, I feel like this game is going kinda in the way that I thought. The bot lane for USA has a pretty sizable lead, and on the side of UAH, they have a pretty sizable lead on their top side of the map.
Yeah, I kind of expected Gwen to be able to take on Yone pretty easily, and also to have a lead in the bot lane. It's kind of going as expected. But Yone is going for play here. It doesn't land, and he might be able to get the kill.
Lands, he's able to get the solo kill on Cassiopeia, and that's very, very big on the side of USA. That might be putting Viego back in the game. Not Viego, Yone back in the game.
Yeah. Huge comeback for Yone in this game. He's already, looks like he's building, almost built
looks like he's building towards Jack Show, actually.
That actually makes sense. I mean, as I said before, USA doesn't have a ton of tanks, so they want to build something kind of tanky on someone at least, and Yone is actually the perfect one to do that.
And that's the difference between Yasuo and Yone. Yone has a very versatile build path. With Yasuo, you have to really build crit. Right. You have to at least have the 100% crit. But with Yone, you can rush Later in King, and then you can build Jack Show, and then maybe build your crit, and and you'll be fine. And a very, very strong build into the team comp of UAH.
I haven't seen Jack Show very often. I get it, but I haven't seen it very often. Yone is in trouble now. 3 bottom, and it happens to be all 3 of the tanks. Might end up going down here. He's probably just going to have to create space, and they're literally just waiting for him to come back.
Gonna go down here. There's not much he can do. He can't really trade back Gwen because Gwen is too much healing.
Right.
And but
they're gonna send the Rift Herald down so that they can get the next Drake, hopefully, for them.
Also, interesting build that I see. The Flash comes out, and see, I'm really liking these Flash W's from Viego. There's he immediately sees that there was a pick on the side of UAH. He's like, let me go get one back.
Yeah, immediately just like, okay, well, you get a pick, so do I. But it looks like it might be in trouble here. The Lux does have the tower to fall back to, but UAH does look like they're going to be able to take the initiative on Drake. We're looking at a Cloud Soul here too for USA. That's
I
actually
think USA can fight maybe after the Dragon. The Dragon's probably already done, but they have numbers. Oh, but they're not gonna look towards it. They're gonna just go off, get some farm, and then maybe fight the next one. They have to. The next one will be sold for the side of UAH if they do get it.
Yeah, and having a Cloud Soul on UAH is not good for USA because you have Gwen, and I'm pretty sure that Cloud Soul passive counts for every cast of of Gwen's ulti.
But Gwen just completely deletes Caitlyn, and you can just go for more with Iceborne. Oh my god, this Gwen is too big.
The Gwen is really big, but the
Lux is able to finally put down the Gwen.
Is able to take him out.
Very interesting build from I don't really see Gwen too often, and I didn't even know, well, I didn't think about it, that Iceborne is a decent pickup for her, especially versus Yone.
Right.
So I was thinking that it was just gonna be the typical Riftmaker build, but Iceborne seems to be getting a lot of mileage.
Yeah, and then you know what? That actually makes sense. You have 50 armor from it, 20 ability haste, health. Makes Gwen really tanky against champions like Yone, Viego, Caitlyn. Of course, Veigar is still something to deal with, but Gwen is just so fast.
They are TPing onto the Baron, and they're just gonna start it. I think USA does know that they're on it, but they're burning it very, very fast. Maybe a steal? No steal comes out, and they just take the Baron on spawn.
This is an aggressive play from Gwen. Gwen is going to try to get out, though.
Gwen might be picked off.
Depending on how this is played.
Walk away.
Flash comes out from Veigar.
Yeah, Veigar has to flash over. There's no living that.
Yeah.
Got pinched. Okay, so now the game's looking very, very scary for USA. I feel like if they mess up at any point right now, while Baron is still up for the side of UAH, it could be devastating.
Yeah, and we're talking about what it looks like even tower lead even amount of towers though. But UAH, if they get one good play,
looks like Gwen overstayed again.
Overstayed again.
Veigar does have ultimate if needed.
TP coming out. So we're to see if that works out. Cassiopeia is going to come out.
They split up.
They split
USA
up.
split up, and it's actually very, very bad because Tahm Kench is also here.
And it looks like it's going to turn around against USA.
Oh,
and then stun hits Caitlyn, and Caitlyn might go down.
Oh, but Caitlyn is having. Oh, and then the Yone. Oh my god.
Yone ulti is coming out. He might be able to get somebody from this.
But he's getting way too low. He has to go back. He's dead.
And he's dead now. And they're just so hard to kill.
And that's the ace going over to UAH, and Misfortune is just pushing mid for free.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking would happen.
Wasn't even there.
That's what I was gonna say would happen is that if UAH gets any significant, like especially an ace, they are able to shove bot or mid and just start. And it looks like that might even be an inhibitor tower for UAH.
Yeah, I think Misfortune is definitely gonna take that tower if possible, and just backing up. Viego's coming to catch the wave.
Tahm Kench is playing pretty aggressively. The shield comes just in time, but the tower hit kills him. Overstayed his welcome there. But there's substantial
a little
lead.
Of like the lead is still towards UAH, and it's gonna take a very bad mess up for USA to get back in this game. It's still very, very doable, but it's very, very scary. I feel like if they have to contest this dragon as well, so
right. But I just feel like they can't almost at this point with a 5k gold deficit. I mean, it feels like they're in trouble here. They tried to go for the Misfortune, but it's not going to work. She's going to be able to have the empowered teleport or recall.
They have a 3-item on Amumu and 3-item on Gwen. Honestly, they just send Gwen towards the dragon, and I feel like it's so hard for USA to contest, but I'm sure that's the only thing they can do with Baron off the map. Dragon Soul coming up.
They have to contest it,
They
but
have to get it. They have to make this work.
they have to somehow find a good play to work with. But this is going to be really hard for USA. You're talking about two really tough to kill tanks right now, and Gwen is just popping off.
Yeah, they need to get these Caitlyn traps set up. And
Gwen is just shoving mid as a distraction.
yeah,
So
Gwen doesn't even care. Gwen's gonna just take the inhib. It looks like I feel on the side of UAH, they don't even mind if they lose this dragon because
it's only
I
one
mean
dragon,
they get an
right?
inhib, and yeah, and it's only one dragon.
And it's gonna go
A
back.
big Amumu comes through.
Ulti
Oh,
comes
but
from
Yone
Yone.
is able to interrupt it.
Amumu's gonna
That
come
leaves
down.
Amumu-
Yone
that
does go
leaves
down as
Amumu
well. The Gwen is
alive.
coming from behind.
Gwen
A
is back.
huge
Gwen is back.
ulti.
After taking the inhib, she just takes the flank and absolutely destroys the backline to USA. And Cassiopeia is able to just keep going with Rallies and
And this is not looking good for USA. It looks like the Drake and the inhibitor are both gonna go over to UAH, and that's gonna be Soul. And honestly, in this kind of lineup, that's really good for UAH to have a Cloud Soul.
yeah, most definitely. I think now what they're gonna look for is looking for camps in the blue side of USA and then pushing in the bot side. And this is looking pretty rough for USA.
I'm not sure how they can turn this around at this point. They could try to drag the game, but honestly, in these kinds of games, I don't see that happening a whole lot. So, because all it takes is the next Baron, and UAH could just shove mid and win.
Yeah, and I think even a bad like misplay from UAH is not even horrible because
Such a substantial
honestly
lead.
honestly misfortune dying isn't even that bad because
Right, yeah.
oh, and they're going for a pick on Viego in their own jungle.
Yeah.
He's gonna have to ult away, but Veigar might die for Viego's sins.
Viego is still going to go down. He does land the
The luck
root,
is here.
and it looks like
but-
just not enough damage because of that Iceborne Gauntlet.
Yeah, the Iceborne Gauntlet, the Demonic Embrace is being finished. Yone going in.
Going in for the ulti, but he's going to take too much
Oh,
damage and have to go
but
out.
then Caitlyn gets caught by the Cassiopeia ult and goes down. And this is looking like it most likely will be game.
It looks like they are going for the win at this moment with Cassiopeia down, but she is healing a lot at this point because of, I assume that's a red buff, or is that a blue buff? Oh,
I am
Both
assuming that in the next game, that Gwen is either going to be picked by USA or it's going to be banned.
one or the other, but it looks like that is the end of game one going to UAH. Alright, so, what are we thinking about? I guess this is what I said before was going to be a problem for USA, was not having enough tanks, right? And they just, with too much of a front line on UAH's side, they were just able to steamroll them later on. I suspected that even though there was good late game from USA, there was still a really good chance that UAH is still really good in late game, just because if you don't have tanks, it doesn't, I mean, you can't deal damage if you're dead, right?
Yeah. I definitely think that Amumu made a like a decently smart decision. I thought that I guess both lanes were fine for him to gank regardless, but getting his top lane ahead as well as already winning solo trades, solo kills as well.
Right.
Um it's Yona's not very like it's not a good champ from behind. Especially
Yeah.
into a champ like Gwen who builds this bruiser style and there's does a whole bunch of damage but also is unkillable almost.
Right.
It feels bad.
Yeah, it's a
So
lot for
maybe
USA to deal with.
USA falls back on their their Lowy picks or like
Something,
maybe they take Tom Kench first this time and send it top lane. Just
yeah,
something that is okay with being behind.
right. Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking is that generally speaking, they have to deal with USA had to deal with too much dive, and you really can't deal with that much dive with that kind of comp. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. Looks like we're in the draft. Let me set this up. And right away, we have coming out from USA. They haven't banned the same champions, but Cassiopeia was banned this time instead of I forgot what the previous ban was. But Kindred banned coming out from UAH. I guess they really don't like Kindred, which I guess kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's Cassiopeia band instead of I think that was Kled.
Yeah, it was a Kled
Um,
ban. Seeing Misfortune again, but this time Aphelios on USA side, and a Nautilus probably trying to have a little bit more of a tough to kill team.
I'm actually surprised that they decided to go Aphelios. I think the Caitlyn wasn't really that bad. I think Caitlyn was good. I think it was the game got away from USA. And Aphelios I feel like is worse than Caitlyn from behind and is
Right,
also paired with Nautilus, a kill heavy support. I think that it's not much that this lane can offer. It feels like there's not gonna be many kills unless the
right,
Philios gets hooked or a gank comes out. So it looks like there's not I feel like this Nautilus is gonna be more like roaming towards mid, roaming towards top, and just leaving
right,
the Philios alone and hopefully if Philios doesn't get hooked or caught out of position.
right. We're seeing Gwen again in this.
Yeah,
Aphelios,
not
though,
surprised.
not surprised. If it isn't banned, we'll just do it again. But Aphelios is definitely the type of champion. If he gets ahead, that is going to be devastating for UAH. They cannot deal with even Aphelios who's way ahead. But they do have the tanks necessary. I suspect this might be an Iceborne again for Gwen, because this is the kind of game definitely do that because you're against Wukong and Aphelios, more physical damage. But we'll see how they pick in the next few.
See,
In the next,
UAH banned Wukong in the last Champion Select's second ban phase. So USA just decides let's just go ahead and pick the Wukong early. Wukong,
right,
very strong jungler. Um he could also go top, but most likely we will be seeing this in the jungle.
right.
Um
We're seeing a
and
ban from
I don't think
Gangplank.
that
Ban on Gang.
Gangplank that's
They
interesting.
banned my boy. But I don't know why they ban Gangplank. I don't think I've seen USA ever pick Gangplank. And right now, I mean, if you're good at him, really good at him, you can do really well with Gangplank. But right now, he's actually not really high tier champion at the moment. So
And the side of USA actually picks up Set, which I think is a pretty good matchup for Set.
yeah,
Gwen versus Set.
yeah,
And
redirects all the damage back. It's Gwen if he gets the stun off.
yeah, I want to see like maybe like a stride breaker, even a gore drinker on the side of Set. And
Yeah.
so Ari is locked in. That is my champion. Uh
Yeah, that's Nari's pretty strong right now from what I know.
yeah,
Um,
very like okay champ. Like she's not too weak, she's not too strong.
but if
Um
you can land the combos, especially if the charm hits Aphelios, that might mean just Aphelios is dead, right?
yeah, definitely just this is looking like a Everfrost type of game for Ari with Set, Nautilus, Wukong. Landing charms is very good to be disruptive. And Nocturne coming out on the side of UAH and Lissandra
I don't.
being the pick for USA.
I'm not so sure about. I'm not so sure about the Nocturne pick. I don't know what you can actually do in that kind of game.
Yeah,
I mean, in this
I'm
game,
kind of
I mean, you have Nautilus to deal with. Wukong set. If there's any response against Nocturne, his ulti's essentially useless, right?
yeah, I definitely think that Nocturne is gonna be perma going on Aphelios, but if
There's a
Lissandra and Nolls just sit right next to Aphelios, I feel like there's nothing that Nocturne could do. I'm pretty sure Nocturne just dies.
yeah. And that's what I'm saying as well. It seems like there's no way for Nocturne to actually get in on the Aphelios, which should be his only job in this particular game. But what are you going to do when you have a Nautilus and a Lissandra just sitting around them? I mean, there's nothing you can really do. And then Wukong and Set, there's a lot more peel in this game for USA. They scale pretty well. I'm saying that I think the advantage might be towards USA in this case for this draft, but it really depends on how they play it. Uh,
Hmm.
Towards mid lane, I think that feels like a pretty even lane, to say the least.
Okay, because this lane for Ari is it's not horrible because Lissandra's definitely not the best early game champ. You can
Right,
kind of trade versus her, and then like there's little to like no damage to go back. Is the only annoying thing is seeing who has wave priority, right? If Ari gets wave priority, there's not much Lissandra can do, and then Ari gets a roam timer there.
right.
But for Lissandra, I guess it's the same way, but I think Ari's wave clear early is much better, and like she can hold the wave and also trade better than Lissandra.
Yeah, and that's one thing I'm seeing is that as well is that Ari is going to have to rely on just getting a charm hit, which is skill shot. But you're looking at Lissandra. Once 6 comes, Wukong comes for a rotation. Lissandra ulti. At that point, Ari's dead by chain CC.
Yeah, most definitely. There is low damage when it comes to Lissandra and versus Ari, so I can see this Lissandra going for maybe Ignite over TP, but TP is also very good for Lissandra to have because
Right.
running low on mana, all those things, getting back to lane.
Yeah, in my opinion,
Um,
TP is right now kind of broken. So it's kind of almost all. It depends on the situation, of course. If you're going to be more aggressive, but I think Lissandra won't be more aggressive until 6, and I think Lissandra wants to win the lane early.
yeah. I think Wukong should try to gank Ari before 6. It's not necessarily hard to kill her after 6, of course, because of Lissandra plus Wukong, but if R is also 6, if there's even slightly not enough damage, she can just ult away.
Right.
Um,
And yeah,
so
and
I
that's
would
one
I would
thing.
like to see a early gank coming towards mid from Wukong. Maybe Lissandra W onto Ari
Right, and
and
that could
burn
be
a
death
flash.
for Ari if it's done correctly.
Yeah, and even burning a flash would be great.
Yeah. So it looks like, and as well for the top lane, we have Set versus Gwen again. Gwen. I'm thinking I still think Gwen does pretty good against melee champions, but if Set plays it right, turns it around with a W, and that's going to be really bad for Gwen. But Gwen has a lot of mobility, and that's the one advantage she has over a lot of champions like Set or like I guess Gangplank as well, which is why I ban her a lot. So,
Mm. I
but
think uh I think that it's gonna be a very bloody top lane. There's gonna be a lot of trades, a lot of fighting.
right,
Um I do think that Set has a advantage for like earlier on, but
right,
Gwen once she gets Snatcher's Tooth or once she gets her items, then it'll be a little bit harder for Set. And
right.
with with having Nocturne, Nocturne's gonna be most likely trying to clear and hit 6 as soon as possible, while Wukong can already be on the map.
Yeah,
And,
exactly. There's that sort of delay because Nocturne has to get pretty close for his fear, and well, you might end up burning a flash from USA, but that'll be about it. And burning a flash, from what I know, is not the best thing to have from a gank because especially if the opposing jungler takes advantage of the roam failing, then it just means more gold for USA.
so I feel like this game can definitely is very similar to last game. It can go either way, and they get stronger as the mid game goes on. Um, but I think UAH has not as much skilling as they did. Um, Gwen probably being the best mid game, late game champ, with Ari also going towards mid game, but falling off late or like not being, as impactful as she is in the mid game.
Right.
And, on the side of USA, they have Aphelios, super strong scaling champ. Lissandra also pretty decent scaling champ. Um, and Wukong being great. In my opinion, I think Wukong is great in the majority of the time. Probably like
Mid game
weak,
mostly,
kind of
probably.
weak, early, but a decently good mid game champ, and it kind of falls off late.
Right. Mid game definitely. That's I believe where Wukong shines the most is once the mid game starts to roll around, you really have to look at Wukong as a threat. The ulti is going to be very good for fights, and he's able to get out as well. So he has a lot of good mid game presence. But late game, they're going to have to fall on Aphelios. But because of what USA has, they have so much peel for Aphelios, which I think was the idea here, that
Mhm.
when that time comes, they won't have to say, "Oh, well, it's Philios is our only hope at this point." Yeah, sure, but good luck killing him, right?
Yeah, I do really, really like the 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 mid jungle picks. I really do like the fact that USA lean towards Wukong and Lissandra because Lissandra later on in the game her passive just pops off. If she peels right, there's an if she peels off Aphelios, like there's really no need for Lissandra to engage in my opinion. She just peels off for Aphelios and for herself
Right.
and they should just be fine. And,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of other dive coming in besides that. Like sure there's gonna be like a thresh hook here and there. There's gonna be Ari, but Ari has to play very careful as well. She can't be caught in this CC that they have either.
Yeah. So we are seeing two of the same picks from last game for UAH, but I think that's going to be a problem for them because I think USA was ready for it. And it looks like first 5-man invade from USA in the history of their playing.
Oh, looks like they might just be stacking for the possible thresh. So
I don't think UAH can invade at all, and that's why they're already split for their lanes. There is a possible. I think they're trying to go for an evade. They want to take advantage of their early game disables, and it looks
yeah,
like
just trying to get some pressure in. Maybe they can get that ward. No, they
won't be able to get the ward. But so they are going to have to back at this point. And it looks like an invade is happening from Nocturne and Gwen. Up
It looks like
into
they're
the right.
trying to actually split the map here, which is pretty smart because Wukong is wanting to path towards top and then gank top after red. And,
Right.
but he's gonna come top and his red's gonna be gone. And I'm pretty sure they have no idea that Nocturne started their red. So
Yeah.
Wukong is just gonna path normally and
Then
not
realize.
have his
Yeah.
red.
There was no indication that it was stolen, and I think there was no ward from USA in the Pixel Brush, which I think is why. And I guess I'm finally realizing, hey, that's why they ward the Pixel Brush initially, because you don't want them trying to steal, or if they do steal, you know you can steal theirs, right? But it looks like Wukong, yeah, he's going to path top, and that's going to be a problem once he realizes his red and his Krugs are gone.
Nocturne's gonna take Krugs and gank top lane.
Do an early gank top lane behind him. Set is not doing too well there.
Set is already pretty low. This is pretty free. A free flash or a free kill.
Yeah. And he doesn't even see it coming.
And it's sad. Here comes Nocturne. Oh, but
the
the Ignite goes down, and then
that's gonna be a
Gwen
kill.
actually goes down.
That's gonna be a kill. No flash has been
And he
used
flash
yet.
away, and then and then flash follows. But he's gonna trade back that kill too, and that absolutely goes horrible for the side of UAH when it looked so good to begin with.
It looked really good. Yeah, I was thinking, oh, this is gonna be bad for USA, but he manages to turn it around and get 2 kills for 1, and that's gonna put him in the lead here. And now that means. Well, furthermore, that means that now the Nocturne's idea of stealing without Wukong knowing doesn't really matter anymore, right? Because now
Wukong is looking towards going to his into his blue, but he's gonna be caught by Nocturne, which is pretty bad. I feel like
it looks like he's gonna fight him, but almost going out, and
oh,
the
and
kill goes
Thresh
to him.
goes down. Oh, but the kill, and then oh no, this is horrible. This is horrible for the side of UAH.
USA,
but at least they were able to trade back the Wukong after Wukong goes and kills Nocturne.
This is not looking good for UAH initially, and unlike before, if USA gets the lead early on, it could snowball a lot easier for them. In the last game, it wasn't something, if they get a lead early on, UAH plays their cards right, and with their tanky front line, they're just going to come back anyways. But in this game, that doesn't look like it's going to happen as easily.
Yeah, because Thresh needs time to be able to get tanky. Like, right now, he might as well just be super squishy. He has Glacial Augment instead of Aftershock, so there's not much tankiness on the side.
Yeah, it looks. Yeah, UH is looking a lot weaker, but there is a level down on the top laner for USA.
Yeah, I think that Set should just chill here. He has Vamp Scepter, even he can go for trades and sustain back up with it too. Oh, but Nautilus is here. Flash over.
The flash comes.
And so, yeah, and then Ari has to flash back. That's the support flash for the
You would think
for the mid laner flash.
Yeah, you would think teams that play against USA would realize that Brandon is going to gank you. It will happen.
Yeah, like I feel like I see this so often. It looks like Aphelios is either holding the wave there. Oh, but he comes back, but Ari has no flash this time.
But it looks like this is bad.
Sandra's gonna go down here.
Sandra will go down in the process. Close to getting the kill, but just not enough mana.
Yeah, they took that re-engage with very little mana on the side of Lysandra. Oh, but Gwen goes in. W comes out from Set, and
Set is gonna get the
solo kill comes out again.
This is not going as good for Gwen as it was last game.
Yeah, it looks like the top side this time is going towards the way of USA.
Like, I think it was like 2 minutes ago, Set was at like 10 CS versus like 25 CS, and somehow has caught all the way up and is now surpassed Gwen's CS.
Because oh, but the flash comes out from Lysandra,
and they are gonna get a kill.
They're gonna get the kill on Nocturne, so this should hypothetically be a dragon for USA if they want it.
Set has the ulti now, so he might be able to do something if his E comes back up.
Yeah, he just sustains up, and I feel like there's nothing Gwen can do here in this moment.
Yeah, Gwen is in a really losing position against Set right now. I thought Set would probably win this, but I didn't think it would be this bad for Gwen.
Yeah, I think it's strictly because of Set trading back those kills.
Yeah, getting back those kills gave Set an early lead, and now he is, well, he's the boss.
He is the boss. And the first dragon goes to USA Chemtech.
This game is starting off a lot different than last game for USA. They're getting the first dragon. They're still winning bot lane right now, like last game, but now they're winning mid as well, and they're winning the jungle.
Very surprised. Oh, but Set
goes for an aggressive
has to
play.
walk away.
He's gonna have to walk away. He had max stacks on his, but he just heals back up if he survives.
Heal back up. Yeah, good old Vamp Scepter.
I almost think Vamp Scepter is broken, but but my God, it is so powerful.
Yeah, when you get it this early in the game, it's so strong.
Yeah.
So another very big CS deficit in the bot lane, from 65 to 35 CS on the side of Lysandra, not Lysandra, but
and they're gonna come out the ulti, and he is gonna get the kill.
Oh, and he gets the kill. That is horrible for Misfortune.
When it's worse,
dying there with this already very big CS deficit is so bad for her.
Yeah, and this is an Aphelios we're talking about at 72 CS, 8 minutes in the
Not
game. That
very
is
hot.
huge CS, actually.
What a big charm coming out from Ari.
Huge charm coming out from over the wall, and they do secure a kill on the
They're
Wukong.
able to get that shutdown, and now Ari is in the game now.
The charm comes
Another
out
charm comes
again.
out.
There's
See, we
no
love to see. I love to see good Ari players
Yeah.
because I am a good Ari player.
I like to see. I'd like to say I'd like to see good Aphelios players because I'm a good Aphelios player, but I'm not a good Aphelios player.
And that champion is so hard.
Yeah, and it looks like once again, Set just doesn't care. He can just do this nonstop, take damage, and then go
So
right
this
back up.
Gwen actually had a very decent trade in the middle of such a big wave too.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's the plated steel caps being the reason of
Yeah.
that trade being more favored.
Yeah. Nocturne is gonna have to try to catch up to Wukong here.
Nocturne used his ult earlier, but it looks like he was out of range, so
Well, he
that
couldn't
ult's
see
not
him.
gonna be down for a while.
Well, he couldn't see him either. I don't think Nocturne ult can target somebody he doesn't see.
No, it can't.
Yeah. So
I think he tried to ult and finish off the Lissandra, but she went out of sight a little bit before.
And the Wukong is just gonna take on the Nocturne right now.
Yeah, this is very, very sad from the side of Wukong. Wukong can still go here.
And
like
this is bad for Misfortune. It looks like Misfortune will go down. Set getting really close to going down, but managing to get out. I think that was a flash right there, yeah.
Yeah, he had to flash away.
But he's gonna just stay in lane because he has the Vamp Scepter.
Yeah, Aphelios is ahead of Misfortune surprisingly. And
9 CS a minute?
yeah,
Wow.
he is sitting very comfortably here in bot.
Yeah. And almost at half HP in what, 30 seconds?
Yeah, and look, Nala's just said, okay, let's just make sure, let's go get this Herald.
This seems to be a recurring pattern for USA is to, if the lane goes at all good for bot, Nautilus is just going to leave lane right away because why stay? I mean, if Aphelios is ahead, he can just get solo XP.
Yeah, and it's great that they decided to get this Herald because they can bring it top lane.
This is looking bad for Set, and Set does go down.
It actually gets soloed, and then the shutdown goes over to Gwen, which is kind of bad.
Not really good, yeah. But he does already, Set already does have the Blade of the Rune King.
So I wonder where USA is trying to take this Herald. If I were them, we take it by, give Aphelios even more gold, and
yeah, just
be able to take that tower, and then Aphelios is able to go mid afterwards. Their dragon's about to be up as well.
Yeah, just funnel all the gold into Aphelios as much as possible. I'd say that's the winning strat for USA.
Yeah, 11-minute Gale Force, 11-minute.
He has placed 2 wards here in an attempt to get that other ward, and it is not working. They are going
being very greedy for the ward, and he's actually gonna just die for it.
He placed 2 wards just for
Ari's
that. Ari's bot
doing Nautilus is doing a very, very good job of peeling off and he's able to get the Misfortune as well. The
Misfortune. God, you directed camera. You were supposed to show us Misfortune dying. But it looks like he's gonna just hide here and possibly try to steal from him.
Nocturne has to know that he just hit him with the.
Nocturne is going on Aphelios.
Oh, but Nautilus is gonna go down. Ari now has a reset. Oh, but it doesn't matter. Lissandra's also here.
This is exactly what I was talking about before. Is that so much peel for the hook lands.
Oh, he goes in. What?
He goes in and he does get the kill on Wukong.
I am very surprised that he went in. Another fight going up towards the top, but it's slightly going into the favor of Gwen now. Even though Set has Blade of Rune King,
Right.
Gwen is able to
I think those steel caps
trade
were
with
huge.
him.
The steel caps were definitely a really good build for Gwen. It's able to sustain pretty well against the damage, but you still do have the Vamps, well, now the Bork to deal with, giving a
Yeah,
lot of
he's gonna
healing
be able
for
to
him.
heal up.
And let's see if he gets contested for the 4th time, I think, on this one ward. Oh, and he is not caught in the right spot.
Not again. Not the same way. Oh, but he's actually living.
Response from Ari. The Thresh will live, and it looks like the fight will be neutralized.
Alice goes down to half HP, but they're able to just back off and go towards the dragon. No no Ari ultimate for this fight.
That's actually really
So
weird. I just, the charm hit, and instead of going towards Ari, it had to path around. I didn't even realize that's how that worked.
yeah, it's very weird. It depends on where she hits it, but
Yeah.
if it's an awkward spot like that, good spell shield by Nocturne, by the way.
And he's
But he just gale forces forward,
and
he just goes down. It doesn't matter.
They are funneling so much gold into the Aphelios. Already has the Gale Force, and that is just allowing him even more kills in this game.
Yeah, Aphelios is absolutely huge, and Lissandra being pretty big factor in the game as well.
It's looking like it's going in the favor of...
Oh no, this is feels bad for Set, and Set goes down once again after such a good play early.
The kill's gonna go to Lissandra. Aphelios might be going down.
Going low.
But the Aphelios does get out, and that's a huge shutdown. 700 gold for that.
Yeah, he has to back. You do not want to give that away. Lissandra's probably gonna go down here.
Aphelios.
Yeah, the
Yep.
Stride Breaker comes in and shutdown goes over to Nocturne.
So Nocturne is a bit behind, but the Stride Breaker is able to give him the kill.
Yeah, Nocturne has not been having a very good time.
Yeah.
That failed gang top lane.
Yeah.
After getting killed in his jungle afterwards, after getting killed at Scuttle. Looking very rough for him.
It was looking like, yeah, I really expected that top lane gank for Nocturne to go really well, and Set just turned it around completely.
Yeah, I think it was because Gwen was going a little bit too early or dropped the ignite a little bit too late, and then Set was able to drop his ignite and just go ahead and kill it before Nocturne was even there.
Yeah. And then you just, at that point now, it's just a 1v1. I mean, Set was low, so he did have to run from that, but with the flash coming out, I kind of expected the flash earlier when that happened as well, but they both flashed pretty much at the exact same time. But
yeah, I knew that when Set flashed, Nocturne was going to follow. I'm pretty sure Set knew that too, but it looks like that didn't even matter because Set has been solo killed I think twice now after having that big lead, which now it's pretty even, but Set can't
steals the blue.
He said, "Give me that." Nocturne. Honestly, if that was me, I'm a little tilted.
I would be tilted if I were Nocturne. Yeah. It looks like Misfortune is being targeted. Misfortune will be able to get away. Lissandra is kind of the champion that doesn't really solo kill often, to be honest, but that was close to a solo kill. But
her damage is a lot up front. It's just burst damage at one point, but after that, that's about it.
Yeah.
Like she can only do those few abilities, and then that's it.
Aphelios has roamed towards top to help get Herald, with Lissandra sitting in bot lane now.
Oh, max range hook.
The ulti comes out.
Goes over to Aphelios, so they're gonna be able to get this Herald and maybe crack open mid. And on back, Aphelios is gonna have Infinity Edge and be even more of a menace than he already is.
With an Infinity Edge, we're looking at an Infernum being unbelievably powerful. This looks like it might be a kill, but the ulti comes out from...
See, and Nahlas doesn't even mind losing the flash there, even though Ari just blows her ult, which is fine. Nahlas has Hex Flash, so it doesn't even really it's not really even that important.
Yeah, exactly. Because with Nautilus, I mean, it's Nautilus. He's a support, so he doesn't have to worry about trying to get out because right now with such a high lead, they're not the ones trying to get out, right? And having Hex Flash as well means that they're able to still engage to a degree.
Because then if that hook lands, Ari gets CC locked because then Wukong is right there. Wukong dashes in and ults and interrupts the first dash of Ari's. And most likely she still goes down because she has no flash.
Exactly. Seeing D-Ward right there. Looks like they're posturing towards the Drake coming up in 20 seconds. They're looking at an Infernal Soul here, so this is really good for Aphelios. If they can get this.
He actually opted for the Bloodthirster, which is, in my opinion, an even better pickup than IE at this point.
Actually, yeah. I mean, the one thing this is what I've heard from players.
Another hook. Thresh and this and this Tri-Bush is not something.
they need to just give up on this Tri-Bush, but the teleport comes out. They are trying to get a kill.
Wukong is gonna go down.
The flash comes out from Aphelios, and it looks like he's gonna come out. Aphelios will have to get out. The charm does land.
And Lissandra flashes away, but Ari can still. Oh, but the ult comes out and they can walk away. But this is going to be UAH's Infernal Dragon, the first dragon of the game for them.
The Bloodthirster pickup for Aphelios definitely is good because from what I've heard from players that are better than me, is that if you are ahead, you don't actually build aggressively, you build defensively so that you don't lose a large bounty, right? If you build you still are going to build damaging items, but you build items that are going to keep you alive, like Bloodthirster or Guardian Angel or something like that, and so that you can constantly keep your lead and not die, right?
And I think that it's very good for a champion like Aphelios. I think if it was like maybe, say like a Jinx or like a Jinx or maybe like a Caitlyn, you would go for IE here,
right?
Especially with how ahead he is. But with Aphelios is a different type of champ, so you have to be able to stay alive to do damage. So he opting for this is definitely the best.
And yeah, with that over healing shield, that Ari charm means nothing. That comes out.
And the
ulti hits.
And the CC chain is too much for Ari, and she just goes down.
And they are playing very aggressively now.
Wukong still has R2.
It looks like Lissandra might go down here. Might be able to get out, but I don't think the E is available at this point. All it takes is one more dash, and looks like Gwen is going to give up on this. And Lissandra is going to absolutely disrespect the Gwen here by just immediately backing right in front of her.
Drop the hero and another max range hook.
Aphelios is caught right now, but he looks like he might be fine. The kill goes on to the Misfortune, and it looks like the Aphelios is still alive and now legendary, and he gets another kill.
They're going to be able to get this mid turret. If they really wanted to, this is a Baron angle in my opinion.
Yeah, at this point.
They go Baron with the Aphelios. Lissandra's also top lane. They clear that wave. There's not much they can do. See, Gwen is low on the bot side, and she actually goes down. They should just go Baron. I think they 100% should just go Baron, but it looks like they're gonna play it safe.
Well, they might. It looks like they might go for Baron right here. I mean, that would definitely be the best decision right now because
now I'm happy. I'm happy they decided to go Baron instead of backing.
Yeah, that's definitely the best decision right here. Ari trying to contest it, but honestly, if I were Ari, there's no contesting that. Push mid.
Yeah, might as well just go ahead and get CS while you can.
It looks like Sem might go down, but you know
what?
Go down.
He's gonna get the tower, but he's definitely. Oh, but Gordrinker comes out.
And he is gonna
almost
go down.
Trades the Nocturne.
Still gets USA a lot of space. I've referenced this before, but USA's top laner is maybe not a challenger player, but similar to the Baus FS in the fact of just how he plays very aggressively and just creates space for USA. And in the end, now you have a 9-0 Aphelios, right?
Yeah, because they sent the Nocturne down bot because I feel like UAH already knew that the Baron was gone.
Right.
So they were like, oh, let's just go ahead and kill Sut.
Yeah. And it was a pretty good decision for UAH. There wasn't much else you could do.
Yeah, but it's also scary because I feel like if Set played it, oh, but the
The
hook
hook
comes out
comes out.
again.
Hook comes out again, but the Thresh Lantern
Lance
is
was
going to
there.
get him out, and it looks like they're right now just having 4 and mid just ready to push. But Wukong might be trying to go for some jungle camps.
Yeah, they're definitely gonna look to play 3 or like 4 mid and having Set just pushing the top. Even though Set doesn't have Baron, um he's still gonna be able to clear those waves while they apply pressure towards mid.
Yeah, and it looks like USA is now at a 10.3k gold lead at the moment.
Not much going on here. It looks like Thresh. Thresh can look for hooks, but I feel like it
It
doesn't
it
really
doesn't. It
do
really.
anything
Right, I
at
mean,
this.
you have the response from Nautilus and Wukong. I mean, even if a hook lands, the Aphelios is going to be able to get out, especially right now that he has. I think that's Crescendum. Or no, that's not Crescendum. It's the red one.
I was I just call I just called them. The only one I know the name to is the white one because it's Chakra.
Yeah, that's Chakram. Okay, so that is Crescendum. Red is Crescendum. I was correct. I thought Chakram is the other one. Hook lands,
Yeah,
but
Chakra's the
no
white one.
response, right? There's not much you can do even if you do land a hook. There's not
I
really a lot
feel
of
like
damage.
even with Thresh throwing out hooks, it's but Thresh goes in
The hook comes out.
kinda awkward. Oh,
2
but the
kills!
amount of AoE that just came out was
They
oh,
are.
but Wukong's here. Oh,
The flash comes out from the Aphelios, a
almost
triple kill.
Wukong's
This is going.
Wukong still going forward, and the Phyllis is still alive. He's gonna heal up with Bloodthirster, and there's
And now you have Set just
not much.
shoving top right now, non-stop, with only 1 alive on UAH's side. This is looking really bad, and the lead is getting worse for them. Almost gets the kill, the Wild by like 1 attack. They're gonna get a second inhibitor.
2 inhibs here.
You think they
It's
can?
kind of scary going for the end, but they still can. They have Baron, full health Aphelios, full health Set as well,
Yeah, this
and
looks like.
they're able to kill Misfortune. As long as they continue to play it smartly, they can just end the game.
Yeah, and they're
And
just getting the picks.
that's what it looks like it's gonna do. It looks like it's gonna be game going over to USA, series going 1-1.
And so that's it. And so that game 2 will go to USA.
I think even though that even though Set kinda threw away his lead to an extent at one point, just the amount of pressure he got in the early game was able to put the pressure off of Aphelios, and Aphelios was already winning lane and just got too ahead, and it was too much for UHA to handle.
Yeah, I saw that it kind of swapped around this time. Now USA is the one with more tank on their team, and that meant that USA was able. All they needed was that early lead, but we've seen that it seems kind of clear that USA has a stronger bot lane. They seem to win more often against UAH, so I think UAH would benefit from simply posturing bot lane a lot with their jungler and ganking there a lot more often instead of going for early ganks top, because honestly, I don't think ganking top Light Locust is going to do them much good. Light Locust is like, okay, fine, gank me. Well, what difference does it make? My bot laner is now getting way ahead.
Yeah, most definitely. And I'm wondering if UAH is going to stay on the Misfortune. Maybe that's just a comfort pick. Maybe he's a one trick or something. But I think that this Misfortune pick is not going, especially first pick, is not really going in their favor.
Yeah, it's certainly not working the best for them. Oh, looks like we're a little bit already into the draft phase. And the first pick coming out, Amumu, pretty standard bans. A ban on
Yeah,
Aphelios. That's
same bands as last champ select, except with Aphelios instead of I think that was can't remember who that was, but Aphelios is there instead. They
yeah.
UH actually decides to first pick the Mumu instead of Misfortune this time.
Yeah. So I'm
And I
yeah.
think that's okay.
Jinx, that's a pretty good pick. I mean, USA is clearly going for high scaling champions that are going to just that if they get enough kills bot lane, they'll pop off. And I think they're clearly seeing that their strength is bot lane right now, and that all they have to do is pick high scaling champions, win the lane, and then Jinx is gonna just start destroying stuff.
Oh my god!
Melio.
No, I was just I'm not kidding you. I was just thinking I really want to see Milia.
This is the first
And
game we'll see Melio in here.
but I was not expecting them to pick it right now. I thought that they were gonna pick jungle, like go ahead and get their counter pick or comfort pick versus a Mumu. And then if they chose Thresh again, no, not Thresh, because Thresh kind of sucks versus the Thresh matchup I heard from Milio players is not good for Milio. But
Right.
I thought that they were gonna pick jungle and then react uh the support pick with Milio. But we get to see it earlier, so
Yeah. We get a Lux pick. That's likely support Lux.
Lux Amumu very very good. Lux mid is also very slept on now. I think that Lux mid is
Yeah.
I think Lux mid is very very good at this moment and very slept on.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's not taken seriously enough, but it's definitely pretty good. But I usually, and from what we see a lot, Lux is not generally picked mid. But I could
Mhm.
see it. I could see it happening. I mean, we did see kind of first game. Trying to remember now. First game. Who was the jungle?
Oh, a Silas pick. I
Silas.
really like the Silas pick here with versus Amumu and Lux.
That's a really good pick because you have two ultis to steal that are really good to steal for Silas because he just combos in with chains and then a Lux ulti and that's a kill right there.
And then the Moonwheel speaks for itself.
Right. I mean
You
that's
just go
actually
in and just get. You don't even have to get like a big like 3 4 person one. Even getting two is amazing for Silas.
yeah, and he's building and he says he builds all AP, which Amumu does not usually do. That's super good for him. It's huge damage right there. And because even Amumu AP is clearly not the best build to do ever, but you know his ulti. If you do AP Mumu, it does deal a lot of damage, especially with that ulti. So I could see a Silas stealing a Mumu ulti a lot. And it looks
Okay,
like
so they actually banned Gwen this time, and I'm happy to see that they banned Gwen and Clud. Um, so I wonder what UAH is
hey,
going
wait a
to
minute, what's going on? Is
oh,
any
they probably
is anybody noticing this?
yeah, they
Where's that?
missed one.
What happened to the third pick?
Oh,
uh,
Kale.
so we're not actually sure what the
Kale?
third pick is,
That third
cause
pick is most likely ADC. Um,
uh,
check the client. They might have said it in the custom game. I think it glitched out. Oh, it's MF.
it's MF.
Okay.
Okay,
So MF, I think MF Lux is a better lane than what they've picked with this so far. Like Thresh. Um, is that Udyr Belveth? Okay.
I think I'll actually leave it on
Interesting.
this caster screen because I was wondering whether or not to transition to the caster screen because I wanted players to be able to know what's being played while we're referencing this. So I'm actually going to leave it on the draft just so people know what's being played.
Yeah, got you.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I think so with so it looks like wait, okay, so MF. Oh, so that's a Kale mid?
That
Kale mid.
that looks like a kill mid and Tom Kench top.
That is very interesting.
That is pretty
Um,
interesting. I don't know how that'll work against the Silas. Uh, it's
'Cause
gonna have.
I do think that at least this happens to me a lot when I play Kale, well play versus Kale. I overestimate how strong my champion is early because of how quote unquote weak she is early, but she's decently strong when when you have your E start and then you have lethal tempo, it really racks up. And
Yeah,
so honestly, I'm not really that's okay. Even though you're giving Silas KO, which is kind of scary, um it's not that bad. I don't think it's horrible.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty. I think Kale pick is pretty good. It's going to be tough for Kale though. Against the
Mm.
Silas, up until level 6, Kale has to either play very careful or take hits from Silas just using W and going in on her. So that's
If
going to be
I
kind of hard to
was
deal with.
if I was the Udyr on the side of USA, I think I would be camping the fuck out of mid lane. I think I think taking the priority of Kale being so weak and also not having that range early and having a Silas, like if she mispositions and she doesn't have flash, I'm pretty sure she's dead every time. Um Silas E2 into Udyr coming in with bear stance, there's not much Kale can do.
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be really hard for Kale to deal with early on, especially since Belveth is pretty good at ganking early, actually, just with the W and the dashes. So I mean, actually, it's a really good question. Where is Udyr going? Or you know what? Did I pronounce that wrong? Is it
Udyr?
Udyr? I don't know the pronunciation,
Oh
but
wait, I didn't even notice. Wait, Udyr might be top lane.
yeah, I just
Wait,
realized
I
where
didn't
is he
even
going?
notice.
Yeah, I'm like, wait,
I didn't even notice.
where's Udyr going exactly? Is he going top?
Okay, so it's Udyr versus Tom Kench, a very solo queue is type of lane. But
Yeah,
I do think that Udyr is much better off than Tom Kench when it comes to solo laning. Um I
yeah.
think he could go honestly he can go whatever he wants. He can go Jack Show, he can go Heartsteel, he can even go into like the one shot Udyr Tiger Stance build.
I would expect probably he's going to go for tank build because the only other tank you're talking where we could see is Belveth, and that's assuming Belveth goes for a more bruiser style build.
No, and I don't even think that that's what we're gonna see. I think we're gonna see like the standard Kraken Slayer. I don't honestly I don't see Belveth enough to know what happens
Right.
after Kraken Slayer.
I think usually from I've played Belveth a few times, and Belveth generally will go Kraken Slayer, maybe depending on the game. Although this is pretty common, is to go just because of her whole kit is to go Bork afterwards,
Hmm.
and possibly if you're really looking to just deal a lot of damage, but you'll be squishier if you do this, go Ginsu's Rageblade.
Hmm.
So, but Belveth's build is flexible. A Titanic Hydra, of course, is a possible build for Belveth, and Belveth can build pretty flexibly. Could build things like
That
much
sounds
tankier.
pretty good in this game. I think if she goes like Kraken Slayer, Blade Rune King, Titanic, I
Yeah,
think that's very good because I don't know anything about Belveth jungle matchups, but I do know for a fact that Belveth, if she runs into a Mumu most likely has to just run away.
right. Yeah, and Amumu's not going to win early on these matchups, but later on, though, once 6 comes, Amumu is going to have a lot better ganking power than Belveth will. But what we're seeing on USA side is pretty standard, is a lot of scaling champions. Well, not a lot of scaling champions, but a lot of scaling in general. They scale very well with Belveth and Jinx, and they've
Yeah,
got the heal.
Milio is, in my opinion, the best scaling enchanter support besides besides no. I honestly it might be a hot take. I think that he scales a little bit better than Lulu too.
Right.
Um
It might be a little bit of a hot take because Lulu.
he's very similar to Sona in scaling. And his positioning is the most important thing because with his ult, he can't ult while he's CC'd. So he has to be able to avoid the enemy CC and be able to pop his ult to get his team out of danger.
Yeah, but that is actually you're seeing a huge counter here. As long as Melio doesn't get hit by a Mumu ult, that's a Mumu ult is now useless against
Mhm.
their team. Instant cleanse, which I mean I haven't seen Melio enough, but I have I'm wondering if I should consider that broken or not because that
Yeah,
feels really powerful.
my duo is a big Milio enjoyer, and and that champ we've talked about it, like we've had this same conversation so many times, and we think that he's like secretly broken.
I think if
he's
he's
a
played
he's an
correctly,
enchanter,
yeah.
of course. Yeah, exactly. If he's played correctly, he's pretty like annoying. Like the extra range, the
Yeah,
healing,
a stun. It's
the
a lot of it.
CC, the
It almost feels
it's
like he's kind of is I forgot what was the word for it was. Uh, really built kit. He's just got a lot
mm,
of everything, right? He's got
yeah,
the
he has
heal. He's
so
got
many tools to be able to keep his team and his carry alive.
yeah, and with the ulti heal, with the when the range increase is also really good, and it's good sustain in lane as well to keep his team alive.
Yeah, I think that this lane specifically is super strong. Like the combo between not Lux, Jinx and Milio, because honestly, I think if Jinx gets any type of like lead, Milio just drops the extend range thing, and Jinx pulls out Rocket and just like
Huge range at that point. Imagine if you also
it's
had a
so
rapid fire
crazy.
cannon. This
And,
is looking kind
and
of
it also
dangerous.
applies the Milio passive as well. It's like
Hook.
a mini ignite.
This is actually top Kale
Top kill, mid Lux, and support Tom Kench.
for Tom
Okay.
Kench. They get
This
some.
this makes way more sense,
Yeah,
but
this does definitely
I'm
makes more
glad
sense.
that they decided to do this instead of like what we were thinking, like Tom Kench top and like all
Yeah,
this other stuff.
Lux mid.
Um,
I don't. Or not Lux mid. Like Kale mid. I was just thinking, how in the world is Kale going to fight against the Silas? This doesn't feel winnable at all.
but it looks like top is going to just scale since they're no longer on Gwen. A big trade coming out from Silas, and that's already half HP. Lux has to pop a pot. I don't think you
Well,
sit
the
here
root
without a pot.
hits again. Kale
So
is.
that makes the trade even since that root did hit.
Oh,
The knight comes down, barrier
shield
comes
comes
down.
down. He has to
He has to
flash,
flash.
and it looks
So
like
no sums on the side of Silas. And Flash is still here for Lux. So it looks like Amumu should be looking towards mid soon.
yeah, this looks like a possible kill for Mumu. Pretty low on the Silas.
It looks like a standard full clear for both junglers.
Looks like it is getting pushed in again on bot lane.
Oh, but Silas goes in.
The
Oh, but
Sil
he's able to. I'm not sure what just happened.
and it
So,
looks. I'm not exactly sure either, and it looks like it's just gonna be comeback after comeback. But and it looks
yeah,
like
but
the
Amun was able to trade out that kill. I wonder what happened with the Lux Flash. I think that she maybe missed misclicked her up. Oh, but
ooh
the
misplay on
Velvet
Mumu's
takes
part.
the takes out Amumu and is able to that wave is gonna bounce back and bounce back to Silas, and it's okay actually when it was looking pretty bad.
Looks like bot lane is still is way ahead in CS now.
22 to 7 CS.
It's not looking good for UAH's bot lane.
This is 3 minutes in the game and the deficit's already this much.
I'm wondering how this is going to change because they had Gwen top first two games, and I guess we're both starting to conclude this is probably a Gwen one trick. So if it is a Gwen one trick, I'm wondering how this change is going to affect gameplay of UAH's top laner.
Yeah, UAH, it looks like, okay, on Gwen, he's very comfortable, right? And he
Right.
was able to confidently make those make those trades knowing exactly how much damage he's doing and how much damage his lane opponent does. But in this, it looks like he's just gonna look to scale. Like there's really no need, there's no real pressure coming out from Udyr.
Right.
And so he's just able to farm up. If UAH can survive, this KO can definitely be a problem.
Yeah. And I'd say, in terms of hardest carries in the game, that probably is the case. It looks like a gank coming out on Lux. Will
Ooh,
Lux
a
be able to
good
get out?
knockup. Oh,
But
but
Lux,
Silas is gonna go down.
Lux
I'm
gets the kill.
surprised that Silas was the one taking the turret there and not Bilba.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd say in terms of hardest carries in the game, Kale is probably, besides Master Yi, one of the hardest carries in the game. So they want to rely on the Kale to hopefully carry this for them.
Yeah, I think Kale most definitely is the strongest scaling champ in the game besides like Rise, Bel'Veth, those type of champs. I don't think
Oh,
you win this Bel'Veth,
yeah, it's a bit of a
and
misplay
Bel'Veth
there.
goes down. He tried to just push the wave for his mid laner so he can just go ahead and, you know, not lose that much and make Lux lose out on some CS, but he just overextends a little bit and just
Yeah,
and pays for it.
yeah, stays a little bit too long. Looks like a possible gank. The hook misses. The bandage hits, and it looks like
Oh,
he's
but
gonna go
Silas is gonna
down.
drop again.
Silas will
Just
go
'cause of
down.
Mumu. Yeah, and then Mumu gets another kill onto onto the board for UAH. Very bloody mid lane.
It was looking like Kale is able to just keep space there.
Now that I'm Amumu, I think that since Amumu got most of the kills so far, I think he needs to he ne- he needs to somehow help his bot because
Right.
sure they're like weaker, but this Tompkins just staying in lane. He's really not doing much. There's not much he can do.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
Misfortune falling behind and CS always getting pushed in.
right.
Something needs to happen by lane for UAH.
Yeah. And I'd say Amumu
Or
is the
or
perfect
else
candidate for that because Amumu's ahead right now. So with it so far pushed in, Amumu has a pretty easy gank there. Looks like they're trying to start.
starting the dragon.
They want to get the Scuttle Crab first. The
Yeah,
root
and I
will
feel like
land.
there's not much that UAH can do. There's Amumu's not really interested. Bot is pushed in. There's not much that can be done, so they're just gonna concede this dragon to USA.
And first dragon, Chemtech Dragon, goes to USA. And this top lane is pretty steady. Looks like not much is happening. It's just going to be kind of a farm lane for both of them.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Udi is just wanting to stay.
Are we seeing an APUD here?
I'm pretty sure he's gonna go for a demonic embrace first.
Yeah,
At
that
least
makes
that's what
sense.
most Udiers do.
That makes sense, yeah. They're
So he's
get
gonna most likely do that. He can go for almost any mythic in my opinion, but most likely will be Jack Show.
probably Jack Show from the tank. Amumu's posturing towards the Rift Herald. This might be a possible kill if this Silas is not careful. And he's going to get aggressive, and this is not good for
There's a
this-
lot of aggression coming out for Silas. Like and then the flash follow and the double ultimates.
It was a nice
Not much
attempt
can do
by Silas, but it doesn't work out.
Yeah, I think Silas needs to as bad as it feels, I think he needs to chill a little bit. He's going too aggressive. And Amumu's recognizing his aggression without wards and is there every time he's aggressive. Emilio's also top lane and they're
Standard.
looking for an invade. There's no way they dive this.
Pretty standard for Brandon to dive top, or to roam at this point, with Jinx being so far ahead again. This means that Brandon can just simply, and it looks like they are going for a dive. You're doing with the Rift Herald. We'll see how this goes. The ulti does come out from Kale. The dive is unsuccessful.
Now. The ult is gone, so
it looks like the chase is staying.
Oh, but the ghost is activated. This is definitely a kill. He's able to just walk away too. Oh, well,
But the
he drops.
really good play on Lux's part for the rotation, seeing that dive. Very good dive for USA though. Killing the Kale off is very paramount to winning this game. They do not want Kale to scale. Is that
I
right?
do like the patience of USA on that dive, because that dive could possibly trade one, and
Right.
I'm glad that they played it
Yeah,
uh
they
best
played
they
it pretty
could.
they played it pretty well, and they're still getting a tower for it, so the 1 for 1 trade doesn't mean much.
So now that means that Udyr is unlocked now, so Udyr can definitely they could even lane swap top bot, which a lot of people don't do anymore, but I think that it would be pretty good versus this KO. Like once Jinx finishes her first item, she can just go top lane, her and Milio, and then just push in the KO.
Yeah. I'm thinking Kale is gonna with this tower down. Kale is not in a bad position, but without that tower, that does mean, well, actually, you know what? That means that Kale is in a bad position. I recede my previous statement. If Kale's gonna be now in a bad position with that tower down, because if the lane ever gets pushed up, Kale has nowhere to farm.
Yeah, I think the smartest thing for Kill to do here is try to hold this wave exactly where it is now, and just continue to pull it and just freeze it over and over again, and just get as much gold as possible without like overextending yourself.
Yeah.
And
The,
then sadly that gives a lot of map control to USA, but it's better than Kill dying again.
yeah, and with USA's minions being having better stats because of the towers down, that means that the lane's going to push into Kale a lot more often. So Kale is not in a bad position, actually.
Tompkins tries to flash away, but Silas follows with E. The
Looks like
knockup should come out soon, but it's not even needed, and Tompkins goes down. Dragon spawning very, very soon, and it looks like it's gonna go toward go to USA if nothing happens.
Looking at 20 seconds here, so it looks like Amumu is already, or the Comcast can already be on his way back. But it looks like, because Udyr is actually posturing towards bot.
Belfast is going on to Amumu, and Silas is going on to Lux to make sure that there's no follow-up, and Jinx and Milio are there, so they're able to Tompkins picks up a kill on
Very
onto
clean
Udyr.
combo there. The ulti comes out from
Big
Lux,
ulti
but Lux
comes
is
out
going to
from
go
Lux,
down.
but Lux goes down to Silas, and the shutdown goes over, and it looks like the Dragon will also go over to the side of USA, and possibly the mid turret as well if they wanted it, but most likely just gonna be Dragon.
So we're going to see what kind of soul this is. I'm suspecting the best soul for USA, if they get it, would probably just be, well, Infernal, but I don't suspect it'll happen twice in a row.
It might be Infernal, we'll see. Oh, but it's gonna be Ocean.
Ocean Soul, that's actually pretty good for USA to have sustained on
Yeah,
Belveth, on Jinx. And they already
yeah,
have...
they have Udyr, Silas.
Yeah, that's a lot of sustain, and then you also have Melio, so you have a lot of healing coming out for USA.
Yeah, there's been a lot of attention towards the mid this game, which was kinda expected with the top lane being so different. But
Right.
the Jinx has not done much yet, but I guarantee once she gets this first item and Emilio finishes his first item as well, it's gonna I think
Yeah.
things are gonna look very bad for the side of UAH
The
with
rocket comes out.
them just on this
Yeah.
misfortune again.
Yeah. I feel like Misfortune wasn't the pick here, but it seems like this must be a Misfortune one trick. Everything comes out onto the Lux, everything
Lux
connects, and that's a kill.
But Belveth goes for I'm pretty sure that was the ult or the passive, whichever one.
Yeah, that was the ulti,
And
yeah. The ulti on Belveth, when you kill somebody or a tower goes down, you can go on this little thing on the ground and it deals pure.
yeah, I know it gives like permanent stats, but I'm glad that
It also deals missing health pure damage, I'm pretty sure. So Bel'Veth ulti is pretty good damage as well. But also, yeah, it gives it permanently increased attack speed.
Yeah, Bel'Veth is gonna be a problem for both Amumu and Tom Kenshin. Bel'Veth is decently strong as well.
Having pretty good farm at the moment. The ulti comes out.
See, that's the I didn't know. Well, I didn't really think of that, but the misfortune gets popped and Milio is like, nope, Q.
And then Kale might have gotten herself into a pretty bad position with the stolen Amumu ult comes out and kills him, and there's no response possible from UAH, and they are still firing rockets on
they're
the
just
Tom
gonna
Kench.
take this tower here. There's nothing that they could do. Lux,
and the gets the kill there, but it looks like as well.
They picked up a kill for Amumu in the red side. Not sure what exactly he was doing there, but still does.
This is looking really bad for UAH. This looks like a 5.2k gold lead for USA. And
Yeah,
then,
not complete, but definitely a turn for Silas. Silas was 2-4 not too long ago.
right.
And now he is 7-4. All his aggression and all his ganks
It's paying off at this point.
paid off.
The root almost connects. Lux did not have ulti up at the moment. If Lux had the ulti up and that root connects, that looks like a kill on Jinx.
Finish Nashers for Kale. Kale's also level 11. So that means she is she gets another upgrade.
She gets the waves at this point.
Yeah, she gets the waves. I actually don't know what it's called.
I don't either.
But yeah, she gets those.
Actually, I don't think it has a name. I think it literally just describes what it does at level 11. Is that you get waves. But the level 16 is what they're really looking for, because once Kale gets level 16,
permanent. It's permanent.
Permanent waves and the permanently exalted, which means permanently increased attack speed.
So the longer this game goes, the scarier it gets with Kale. But from how things are looking, it also gets scarier because Jinx Milio is in the game.
And Bel'Veth.
Bel'Veth is also in the game. Silas is ahead right now. So it's looking rough, but she is hoping to survive a little bit longer. So maybe she can do something.
The dives come out, but none of it is successful.
I'm actually surprised to see that flash come out for Lux. I don't think that she was in danger after the Silas E2 missed, but because the Silas E2 missed and also the Bel'Veth knockup also missed. So
Right.
I'm surprised the flash still goes out.
Yeah, the flash wasn't probably needed there. Trying to steal this, but this might be a bad steal for Amumu.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter, bro. I'm pretty sure he just dies.
I think Amumu dies here unless the root comes out. He's going to come under tower.
Yeah. I don't think that is very worth. The dragon's up and Lux just dies trying to help the Amumu.
And the Drake looks
they're
like
gonna
it's
look towards dragon. And there's a herald towards top lane. Kale's gonna be able to pick up that wave, pick up the herald. But this is looking pretty rough for the side of UAH.
Looks like Amumu might be trying to steal.
Looking for a steal.
But
Oh, but he gets stopped by. I'm pretty sure he just got stopped by Emilio Q.
And the Bel'Veth is having none of that stealing and all.
This is looking very, very rough.
And the Kale comes down.
The knockup comes through, and then the Silas E2. Silas goes down because of the Kale ult. There's not much that can happen afterwards.
But the Kale does get the second kill.
Oh, but Kale's
this is looking really good kill for Kale, possibly.
Oh, but the Bel'Veth. Oh,
and
barely. The Jinx. Oh no, Jinx.
Jinx might be in trouble at this point.
Jinx
They're going for the kill.
Going down because of that flash. She was not able to get that last auto, and she goes down as well. That is horrible for the side of USA. That's 4-0.
4 for none. I did not expect it to go that way, and that's 2 kills for Kale. Things may
Yeah.
turn around as a result.
Kale is going for
Looks like a rift.
Riftmaker.
Yeah, that's
And,
a rift maker there.
only 3 more levels until level 16, and it gets even harder for USA if they continue to play super aggressive without respecting the
Yeah,
damage of Kale, respecting the
yeah.
Lux.
Yeah, and then the thing about in this game though, there is a lot of dive to get on Kale, but if Kale has ulti up, that means that Kale's gonna be able to get out. And with peel from a Mumu and Tom Kench, Kale survives long enough. This might be very bad for USA.
Yeah, I think that at this point, sadly, the Tom Kench is going to have to prioritize the Kale. Like Kale doesn't even have to use her ult early. I think first they use the Tom Kench ult to get her out of any sticky situations,
Right.
and then she's able to use the ult for herself and damage afterwards.
Yeah, that's what I would say is the best choice for Kale right now is, or for UAH is try to save the Kale ulti, but save Kale at any cost.
Yeah, I think for the side of USA, since it's Kale, Tom Kench, they should look to prioritize killing the Lux, even though Lux is mostly there for damage. Well, at least her build is like damage.
Right.
But her utility is too strong for someone like Kale to have, because Kale technically has 2 supports right now.
Tom Kench
Oh,
steals
but
the ulti, but it looks like
Silas is gonna go down again over aggression.
They still have a pretty good lead, but it looks like excuse me. It looks like UAH is actually starting to close the lead a little bit here.
Kill level 14, 2 more levels. Oh, but a bind and a big chunk comes out
Ulti comes out.
Of the Milia.
Going Lord Dom's next for Jinx, which that may definitely make sense against a Mumu and Tom Kench. Thinking next Drake we're gonna have in 1:45. No one is in a position by the looks of it to try to go for Baron. So it's gonna be pretty neutral there.
I think the only, like, it's too scary for USA to go Baron because it's a coin flip type of thing. If Kale gets too out of hand, she gets so much gold and she's able to, you know, get stronger.
Yeah.
And then there's of course the possibility of a steal or anything like that. And for the side of UAH, it's too big of a risk for them to take because they could just lose the game.
Yeah. So it looks a lot of time spent in mid by both sides. Currently,
I think the next thing that will dictate this game is probably the next dragon.
That's Soul Point at this right now.
It's Soul Point. It's just Ocean Soul, which is not like, it's not that bad, but honestly, I think on the side of UAH, you might have to give Soul as bad as that feels too.
Yeah.
Like if they see USA going towards the dragon, they might have to just go towards Baron beforehand and try to pressure them off of the dragon or make them choose.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if they'll do that. I'd say their best choice might be either going for Baron, or in this case, probably going for a tower of some form. Although I don't see which one, given their current position, they could go for. I would have said they wanted to push out top and get that tower for a bounty, because I don't see them being able to defend against this Drake unless the Amumu can steal it with a smite. But we'll see how
but they're hovering, so it looks like we might possibly get a fight. Yeah, they're walking into the river. They're not scared. But but Silas does have the Soul and Amumu ult, so this makes this even scarier for the side of UAH.
They are definitely trying to contest this 5v5, so we're seeing a 5v5. Lux ult comes out, doesn't hit.
Nothing.
The ulti hits on the Kale.
On this big misfortune ult.
Kale is surviving.
Velvet actually.
This is really bad for USA, and it looks like the Kale will survive long enough to get the kill.
And the ace comes out for the side of UAH. They're gonna be able to get this dragon. They're gonna be able to go towards Baron afterwards. even without their jungler, they just
I didn't think this would be
they
this
could go
strong.
there.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think they could try Baron. It looks like Kale is actually either going top or right straight to Baron, but I don't know if they could go Baron. It looks like they actually are posturing to start. Actually, yeah, it looks like they're starting it. I'd say, yeah,
I think
I
they had to go a little bit faster. They're most likely gonna have to get off of this, or they're using Misfortune as bait right now because they're if
right.
if I was on the side of USA and I saw Misfortune mid, I'm like, okay, there's no way they're on Baron right now, but in fact they are, and, which is
Yeah,
honestly smart. They're able to get both the dragon, deny soul, and get the Baron off of the map,
and now
and
they caught up from a 5K gold deficit, and now they're ahead.
yeah,
I
that fight was absolutely horrible, and it's just it's so hard to kill Kale with USA's comp
yeah,
because they have
Tom Kench.
Kale, they
Yeah,
have Kale's own W, Kale Ultimate, Tom Kench in general, and Lux,
yeah.
and
There's a lot.
also a Mumu,
And also
and
Mumu, they have enough peel, they have a lot of saving, a lot of things to save Kale, and Kale's going to go right into Death Cap, which definitely makes sense with Kale now being a huge threat at this moment, and now level 16, definitely just go for Death Cap and just start destroying.
yeah, I think being paid. Oh, but the misfortune has to flash, but it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Um, oh no, it does matter.
Oh,
She's still gonna get away from that because Silas used his Everfrost earlier. She's able to get away.
the speed for
Um,
Misfortune's W does help her get away in that case.
but what I was gonna mention was that USA has no real way of getting out. Like Milio peels, but there's no getting out.
Right.
Once they're in, they're in. And it's just very hard for them to kill Kale. See,
Yeah.
Kale just picking up the Rabadons, level 16, 3 items. It is looking very bad and very scary for the side of USA now that they lost their chance at a soul and lost their chance at a Baron.
Yeah, and this is looking like it's turning around for them. Belveth is not scaling fast enough to keep up with the Kale, who's now at 3 items. Jinx now has 2 items, and it looks like round 2 of
That was
trying to
going
kill
onto
Misfortune.
Because Misfortune has no flash this time.
No
And
flash.
she goes down.
Does go down in this case. Mumu is responding, and it looks like Belveth is.
Oh, but Velvet could be in a bad spot here, but now she's able to just walk away.
Yeah, I guess we didn't anticipate that, but Kale has so much peel for their team that as soon as Kale gets enough farm, Kale is a monster to deal with, and almost impossible to kill too. So I'm wondering how USA will try to deal with this problem, because it seems like, well, you could kill Tom Kench so that doesn't come out, but you still have the kill ult to deal with in a Mumu, and while you're trying to kill Tom Kench, you have to deal with Kale destroying your team with huge burst, and AP Kale is just really bursty.
Yeah, I think the only way that USA is able to do anything now, which is very sad, is that Tom Kench has to be the one to mess up. And,
Yeah.
but from the things he knows, they know their win con is, and that's just protecting the Kale. They don't really have to worry about anybody else.
Yeah.
Like,
They really have
if
to just
Lux
protect
dies,
the Kale.
fine. If Misfortune dies, also fine. Amumu's a tank, so all they have to do is keep Kale alive, and most likely they're gonna win the fight.
Yeah, and the one thing I'm also seeing is that in this game, USA doesn't
Dragon.
have as much tank, in my opinion. I mean, you have some bruiser from the Silas, you do have some bruiser from the Belveth, but you only have one real tank on USA side, whereas on UAH's side, you have a Mumu, you have Tom Kench, you have a lot of peel, and all for just Kale, and that means Kale's able to just pop off.
Yeah, I think that that Udyr is like when we're thinking of tanks, right? Tom Kench and Amumu are tanks because they have very good CC abilities to disrupt people trying to kill their carries, right?
Yeah.
But with Udyr, all he has is bear stance. All he has is, oh, I'm gonna stun this guy. Oh, let me stun this next guy.
Yep.
Shield,
That's
and that's it. He's a really selfish champ. And,
yeah, exactly.
and versus a comp like UAH's, it's kind of hard for him to find his place in fights as well. Oh, but it looks like the fight for this dragon has
Belveth is going
started.
inside. The E comes out from
Belveth's stolen,
Belveth.
and they're
Ulti.
able to get the
They do
they're
get
able
the
to get the
soul,
soul.
but it looks like now two
Look,
down on
Kale is
USA's
still
side.
alive. Misfortune is also still alive. Udyr is able to just walk away.
They lose
Yeah,
2 in the process, and they
they
don't.
lose two, but they're able to get the soul. So
That could prove pretty
it's
useful
not
for USA.
it's not the worst, but it's definitely not good
Right.
because now UAH is able to just push down mid. Udyr's gonna teleport to this turret, but it's not really gonna do anything. He might even just lose his life for
And now,
TPing and also Jinx. So UAH can really just go for the end now. Belveth and Silas are spawning in 5 seconds.
looks like Kale is going. Yeah, they're just going for the end now, and they definitely can.
Kale
with
is full HP. There's not much they can do. Like they can try to engage, but Kale is still there. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah, Tom Kench ult is not up, but the Kale ult is up, so Kale can really just end this tower, and now they are on their base, and it looks like this will likely go to UAH, but we're seeing how this turns out. They managed to pull this off just barely, but no.
Yeah, but the Kale ult is still there. Kale is still alive, and
Kale
there's
is still...
just nothing that USA can do as Kale takes their Nexus and game 2 for UAH.
And so, as we can see, the series has gone to UAH, University of Huntsville. That was quite the turnaround. I did not see that coming. I kind of thought Kale was going to... I mean, I knew Kale was going to be a serious problem for USA later, but I thought that Belveth and Jinx would be able to offset that carry. But as I said earlier, is Kale is one of the hardest carries in the game. You really just don't outscale Kale, right?
Yeah, we kind of underestimated the fact that Kale was scaling, and they also had both Lux and Tom Kench supports.
Right, yeah.
So it was just too hard. It was just too hard for USA to be able to kill Kale when there's so much peel.
Yeah, exactly. And with so much peel, I mean, I first I was thinking, oh, it looks like USA's going to win this now. But then they pulled around one good fight for Kale, and she got multiple kills. And that at that point, it's kind of like, what are you going to do? How do you kill Kale with a Tom Kench, with a Lux, with the
With
shield?
Luma.
With the Amumu to be able to peel, it's almost impossible to get on Kale, and even if you do, good luck actually killing her, right? And so it was almost like this impossible scenario to deal with. USA can't try to kill Tom Kench first; he's too tough to kill in time before their entire team is just dead from Kale. But if they don't kill Tom Kench, then Tom Kench is going to let the Kale survive with his ulti, right? So what do you actually do against that?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, that looks like the series. The series went to UAH.
Very good series, and GG's to UAH.
Very good play for gameplay from UAH. That was a surprising finish. I didn't expect the Kale to pop off, but it looks like they managed to pull through at the end. All right, in that case, we will. I think, was this the last game of the normal season?
I think this was their last game.
Okay, do we have like a tournament afterwards or something?
They might be in playoffs, but I am not sure.
To be determined. But we'll see you guys possibly next time. If not, we'll